Right, everyone, so welcome to the overview of the series where I take a look at what's happened at Nottingham Forest in the last week and preview what's to come in the next week. It is a pretty simple format, which I first tried last week. It got a good reception, so please continue to put constructive feedback in the comments so I know that you enjoy this and if it's worthwhile me doing in the long run. Now, of course, this week it's a bit different. You've got an international break coming up rather than a game, which is never all that pleasing because it typically can kill momentum, at least temporarily. But it is also a time to reflect and see how we're doing. I think we're doing pretty well so far. I mean, it's been a very, very encouraging start to the season, as I think we can all agree on. After the first two international breaks, we are 10th in the Premier League and haven't been lower than that. So it makes you think if we can maintain the away form and improve what is at a push mediocre home form, imagine where we could be then. And I don't think it's realistic to have brilliant home form and brilliant away form unless you're going for the title, which of course we will, next season, I'd say. But we're not quite there yet. But if we could just make it a bit more balanced, then who knows? Who knows where we could realistically get this season and into the future. Get your thoughts in the comments on that one, because I'll be interested to see what people think. If we could just maintain where we are now, I would be extremely happy with that. 10th is a huge, huge jump up. So let's just hope that is the case. It is still going to be tough at times, I'm sure, but if we can just have a much, much more comfortable season where we're not even looking over our shoulder at all, then that would be major progress for us. And speaking a bit more about the away form, what a performance away at Chelsea, that is what we're going to focus on here a bit, because it's the main talking point in the last week, is that Chelsea game. It was a very feisty match, really, wasn't it? There was all sorts going on, and it ended up being a proper display of goalkeeping ability. Not just from Matt Sells, but to be fair, Robert Sanchez for Chelsea as well made some particularly good saves. But let's focus on our keeper. And has Matt Sells proved people wrong? Because even I, a couple of weeks ago, was saying, okay, he did make a bit of a mistake against Brighton in the wall, probably should have moved or been in a completely different position, nearly spilt it against Liverpool. So it just makes you a tiny bit nervous, not even close to Matt Turner level nervous, let's just get that clear. Imagine if we hadn't have had Matt Sells last season, would we have stayed in the league? Probably not. I don't think we would have done. This season, will we be as high as we are? Not just because of Matt Sells, because of the whole team's been playing well, but some of the performances from him. Chelsea especially, he's proven a massive point there that he's more than capable of being number one. Really mature away performance again from us, still unbeaten on the road this season, going back to the end of last season, still unbeaten as well. And obviously I think it's particularly impressive when we've been tested in the last two away games, especially against Chelsea and against Brighton, and we still come away with something in both, and I think deservedly so in both of them. I think in the first two Premier League seasons, I think we lose one of those games, at a minimum, at least one of those games. I don't think we hold on. So I think that shows how far we've come. We used to respect teams too much, and that didn't work. We'd just get thrashed every time and just be really out of our depth. And I think that's been a really big change in the way we've approached away games, is we aren't afraid anymore to go and cause problems for these teams. Yes, it's affected the home form seemingly, which is not ideal at all, but I'm more confident we can sort that out than I was that we could sort out the away form to begin with. So let's hope in time, and sooner rather than later, we can sort out that home form, but we'll talk about that more probably next week. Just a quick reminder, if you could like and subscribe to Rads while you're here, that would be very much appreciated. And also, channel membership is a thing which I don't plug anywhere near enough. You can become a channel member for as little as 99p per month. Just click the join button below this video. It's pretty simple, but there's no pressure to do that at all. And can I just speak in a bit more detail about a couple of players in particular, namely Milenkovic and Murillo together. They have become genuinely one of the best centre-back partnerships in the league, I really think, in terms of just their chemistry and the way they work off each other. I mean, we've got one of the best defences statistically in the league right now, which is outstanding. Murillo was already this amazing centre-half we've got, who is going to probably join Real Madrid for 100 million in the future. But I genuinely think Milenkovic is getting and will continue to get the best out of him and is improving him even more. And to think, even if we don't have one of these, we've still got Willy Bolly, who's never really had a bad game for Forest. He's just injury prone. Morato was probably a Champions League level centre-back for Benfica. He can't be guaranteed a start, so it'll be interesting to see when he does get a start eventually. And we've still got Andrew Omabaladelli, who now just can't even get a look in. Our centre-back depth is something we should be very, very proud of. And one more player that I want to speak about in more detail. I spoke about Sells in the centre halves, but Ryan Yates, again, continuously proving people wrong, making everybody eat their words, really. And yeah, he's clearly not the most gifted player in the world. He's not as glamorous as a lot of players, but what he offers to this team cannot be understated. Just think, in the 5 transfer windows we've had in the Premier League, all the players we've bought in, and he's still starting games. He's still a captain. He's been pushed out a couple of times, but he's always found his way back in. Now, yes, okay, we've got Sangara and Danilo injured right now, but we've got Ward-Prowse now suspended. But he's not just playing because, oh, we haven't got anyone else. He's playing really, really well as well. I always maintain that you need somebody like Ryan Yates in your team, and I'm quite happy with having the Ryan Yates, to be quite honest. Before we talk about what's to come in the next week, which is mainly just our lads away at international duty, because we have got plenty nowadays. Morgan Gibbs White, of course, has pulled out of the England squad. He is not going to be playing for England against Finland and Greece, which in one aspect I still think is a good thing, because he can't go and potentially make that injury worse. But it is also concerning that he is now just not going full stop. What is the level of that injury? Because if we have Gibbs White out for even a few weeks, I think that's pretty concerning, because he is that important. I don't think if we had Gibbs White against Fulham necessarily, we would have won that game, but we definitely missed him. And that was only one match. And yes, this season we've got genuinely quite a few options that can replace him. You've got Elliot Anderson, who has not really played as a 10 yet. He can comfortably play in Morgan's role. Jota Silva's played there at times. Dominguez is the one that came on for him. I wouldn't probably want to play Dominguez as a number 10, but you've got options at least in that role. And even if you don't play a 10, you've got other, attacking players that you can put in maybe a different formation. So we don't want to lose Morgan at all, but we have got options. But of course, these days we've got plenty of internationals, and that is what's going to be happening in the next week at Forest. Not at Forest, but including our players. It's literally all there is to talk about. We've got 10 representatives for their countries this time, including Ola Aina and Taiwo for Nigeria. They're playing Liberia in 2 games in AFCON qualifying. Chris Wood for New Zealand. Nico Williams for Wales, he's got Iceland and Montenegro. We have still got an England representative at under 21 level in Elliot Anderson. He's got 2 Euro qualifiers, the final 2 Euro qualifiers for the under 21s. Andrew Omabaladelli, he is playing against Finland and Greece. That's in the Nations League as well as Nico's games. Other Nations League games, you've got Alanga playing Slovakia and Estonia, Sells playing Italy and France, and Milenkovic playing against Italy and Spain, who they held to a draw in the last internationals. And Milenkovic is, of course, Serbia's captain. I wonder how long it will be before he's our captain, because I could see that happening. Not to forget, of course, Ramon Sosa. He's got Ecuador and Venezuela in World Cup qualifying. We'd actually typically have more internationals. We'd have Willy Bolly and Sangara with Ivory Coast. Moreira's not been called up to the German youth team, so that's another one. It's crazy how many international players we now have in this team at high level as well. That's pretty much all I've got to say this week. If you have enjoyed this, please hit the like button, subscribe to Rads if you're new. If you do enjoy these videos, then please let us know in the comments below some feedback if you want, or just anything that's not rude. And yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. Up the Reds.